Hi everyone, it's Raina. So this video is for those people who have their natal Venus squaring Pluto. And I was going to combine it with the opposition from Venus to Pluto, but I found information that was specifically with the square. So I'm going to leave it just with that. And I'll probably eventually do Venus opposing Pluto. And just to mention, I'm having a gas doing these because there's like this intensity with this combination that is really fun to explore. Now, when I did the conjunction between Venus and Pluto, some of these themes, or I would say all of these themes, are still coming up with the square. But with the conjunction, there may be more consistency, and it's like, the Venus energy is in alignment with the Pluto energy. In this particular case, because there's a square, there's some kind of a blockage, there's some kind of resistance that is occurring. So it's more problematic, but because Venus is one of these planets that is overall very fortunate. It's an easier influence than, let's say, a Pluto or a Mars, both rulers of Scorpio, by the way, that are more challenging overall. Venus still can, even if it forms squares and oppositions, it can still have some beneficial aspects to it. And one of them is that you may be a very charismatic person. You may have a magnetic quality about you that draws people to you. Is the phrase flies to honey? Or am I mixing metaphors here? And by the way, I did get these ideas from leahwhitehorse.com. I am paraphrasing in my own way, but I want to give a shout out to her because she has a wealth of information, and I've used her before to do some of these readings. So mad props to her. And so anyway, that certainly can be something that other people find very enticing. Even if they might sense that there's a little bit of danger there, it still can be very intriguing for other people to deal with somebody like you. And the money situation, both Venus and Pluto can connect with money in their own ways. One of the big stumbling blocks with this square is perhaps a fear of intimacy, and also so that could keep you from wanting to get close to somebody, and then at the same time fearing being alone. And I think also if there is a sun sign, or maybe you could even say a moon sign, that is an air like Aquarius, there might be some real hot and cold types of tendencies where this is even more pronounced. And you may even feel like a little bit irrational about having these kinds of what I would call, they're extreme differences that are coinciding, but it's hard to reconcile because they're forming a square. And Venus wants that closeness, but Pluto may fear losing control. And obviously, we can't control other people, so that fear of abandonment may kick in. And what this can do, which is also challenging for the longevity of relationships, is causing you to be very suspicious. I always say that Venus making contact with Pluto can be like Venus in Scorpio. And this, not everybody who has Venus in Scorpio is going to have overall negative traits. They might have a couple of challenging attitudes about love, but overall they might have a very passionate but positive attitude. But, when you have, afflictions to Venus and or Pluto, I'm talking about, or I'm sorry, if you have an affliction to Venus in the natal chart, if you have it in Scorpio, I'm talking about those people who have it in Scorpio, that can indicate that it's more problematic, just like this aspect from Venus to Pluto can be problematic more than it can be something that is easy to navigate. And so that stalkerish kind of behavior, the obsessive love, these kinds of things, it's interesting because I kind of like got a kick out of that, talking about stalkerish behavior. It's interesting because other people can be very sensitive to certain types of behaviors in a relationship that to them may feel like you're stalking them, when in fact you may just be so into them that you want to keep tabs on them. But if you investigate that, you may find that the true reason is because you are afraid that they might be cheating, that they may be somehow not going to stay with you, whatnot. Remember that, like Scorpio, Pluto, because Pluto is one of the rulers of Scorpio, there's that tendency to think that there's more than meets the eye. There must be something more to the story. And that's partially where that type of suspicion comes from. Now, I think that a lot of it has to do with that fear of abandonment, that is what is the driving force. But there's also that that kind of detective mentality of Pluto that believes that there's something beneath the surface and you have to find out what it is. So this could be very self-destructive in relationships. And so you may have a great relationship that you blow, that that doesn't work out because of your behavior. So you have to rein yourself in. Now, one of the things that they said, I don't know if it was on Leah's site or another one that I visited, was that as you get older, you may start to temper these tendencies because I just want to make it clear, you can change. It's not like this isn't something that you're doomed to have forever. But one of the reasons I bring up these characteristics is to bring them to the conscious level so that the person can, at least know that they're there, because you might just be operating on automatic based on your past, based on maybe trauma in your past, that, it just feels very natural to act in these ways and you don't even realize it. Now we have to go to the sex here because this could be, I put sexual kinks. They mentioned like dungeons, all this S&M kind of stuff, because the masochism, the sadism, this square may have produced this earlier on in life. And, there's something called sexual imprinting where if you have certain experiences people can confuse that experience with sexual arousal, like then that becomes, whatever their kink, their fetish, those kinds of things which are taboo. And I put that because I know that Pluto and the eighth house are about that. The gothic kind of a thing. They mentioned vampires. She mentioned vampires, which was funny because, I could see that. But anyway, that kind of thing seeping into your love life. And there's like an unwholesome quality to that. I mean, not to be judgmental, but there's something there that is like the person getting off on the taboo quality, the forbidden aspect of it. And, you know, to me, a lot of times this is acting out of trauma. Now, I mentioned similar things with the conjunction, but I think with the conjunction, it's more that the person really identifies with this in life. Here, I feel like it's rebelling, like there might be kind of a conflict within the person about doing these things because they know that they're coming from this place where they are reacting to trauma that they experienced, and maybe it's almost like a compulsive kind of behavior because that's another thing with I would assume Pluto, because it has to do with the eighth house, which is obsessions and you know that kind of thing. And also the idea of third parties. I'm not talking about threesomes. I'm talking about having lovers triangles, because again, this idea of like having that power over somebody. I could see the square playing out like, the irony being that the person is afraid of being cheated on, but, if they happen to be in a situation where they're with somebody who is married, they may want to, or who has another partner, they may want to be the one who wins over that person, because there again, that power, it feeds that ego, it feeds the sense of having control, but it also creates a lot of karmic baggage, if you will. I mean, for lack of a better term. Pluto is connected to the judgment card in the tarot, and that idea of, reaping what you sow. That kind of thing has to be looked at because it can create a lot of drama in relationships.